After I first saw Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I could not wait to see the sequel. Uh, I had this gut feeling that it was going to be one of those rare cases where the sequel is better than the first one. And it was. Now, usually, when the sequel is better than the first movie, it's because the sequel was necessary to complete the story. But not here. This was more like a sequel was needed because the first movie was so good, we wanted more of it. And the writers probably wanted to show their appreciation for the fans who liked it so much. And you can tell they sat down and said, okay, what can we do to make this one better than the first movie? Usually the reason sequels aren't as good as the first movie is they are made for the purpose of cashing in on the first movie's popularity, and they don't take much time in making it. They want to get cranked out before the popularity of the first movie dies down. But with this, they had something else in mind. They took their time. They waited, this one came out like a full 3 years, whereas after the first movie, whereas most come out within 2 years. And what they did, obviously the actors were a little older, and they were playing the same characters, except now older. And they used the same concept as the TV show Zoey 101. Zoey 101 grew up with its audience. With each season, not only did the actors get older and play older characters, older and more mature characters, but each season the show was reinvented to appeal to an older audience. It was a great concept. And, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, they took into account that the main demographics that saw the first movie were now older. And so they bumped up the second movie to a PG-13 rating, whereas the first one had been just PG. It was more sexual, there were more adult situations, adult emotions, so on and so forth. Worked really well. There were a few weird things about it, though. Well, not weird, but actually rather unique is the better word to describe it. They were much closer together geographically. In the first movie, all the places they went were more spread out. Mexico, Greece, Maryland, and South Carolina. Well, in this movie, Bridget's in Turkey and later in Alabama. And the other 3 girls are in New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Driving distance of each other. And on a couple occasions, they actually do make some road trips to see each other. Kind of diminishes the magic, the purpose of sending the pants around FedEx. But you know, that was the whole point of it. I think. You know, the pants had brought them together, you know, and now they're closer together and kind of ignoring the pants, so the pants play a less prominent role initially, and that's why they kind of drift apart from each other. There's a lot of confusion in the story as to where they are. I don't know if any of it actually takes place in Maryland. Maryland is where the girls are from in the first movie. But I don't know, Maryland is obviously not as short a drive as the places I mentioned. So I don't know if anyone's observed. It makes it a little more confusing, at least if you're familiar with geography. But again, that was probably the point. The girls were in so much confusion, and they probably wanted to make the audience a little confused as well, to try and get a sense of what they were feeling. So, all in all, and one thing I notice, the first movie didn't really have the 20th century technology used in the movie. Like, you know, they sent the pants by mail, and FedEx, in fact, I think, I could be wrong, but in the first movie, I think they just sent it regular mail. Whereas in this movie they used FedEx, which is much more efficient, and there was more uses of cell phones and emails. I don't know why that is, because the first movie was made in 2005 when cell phones were already... everyone had them. And everyone had internet. Maybe they don't actually give you the settings of the years they take place, but maybe in the time interval the new technology came out. So, you know, that's just something I took notice of. But overall, great movie, great series of movies, so if you haven't seen it yet, see it, but see the first one first if you haven't seen that one yet. And, see you next review.